Welcome to The New Health. I'm your host, Jessica Preston, where we speak with thought leaders and innovators in healthcare who are revolutionizing healthcare and making radical change. Today we have back with us James Maskell, author of Evolution of Medicine and Community Cure, health economist. He's been talking with us about community and its benefits with health. Welcome back.
Great to be here with you. Yeah, I'm excited.
So happy you're here. So we're going to switch it up a little bit today, and I know we talked a little bit about type 2 diabetes before,
Yep.
and another concern that a lot of people have is about dementia. So
Yeah.
I was hoping we could dive in a little bit about the new health and your thoughts and work on towards helping with dementia.
Yeah, so cognitive decline and so the end stage of that is dementia is a big deal, and part of the reason why it's a big deal is one, lots more people are getting it, right? The numbers are increasing. I think there's 55 million people worldwide, and that's growing, pretty significantly. And there's some stat that I saw that by 2050, everyone will either be, if trends continue in the same way, you see that everyone will either have dementia or be caring for someone with dementia. And if you've ever cared for someone with dementia, you know that one of the problems is you have to have sort of 24/7 care, and ultimately that means 3 people taking care of one person. So you see the numbers, it's pretty concerning. And the causes of it are many, but mainly environmental causes. What's driving the increase in dementia, and that could be social environment, could be media environment, could be actually physical toxins and so forth. And I've been interested in this topic for a long time because my grandmother had it, but also I had a moment last year where it brought it really home that was really powerful. So my father lives in South Africa, and South Africa is literally the other part, side of the world from me. I live in California and he's in South Africa, so we see each other once a year. But towards the end of last year, I started getting concerned because my regular WhatsApp communication with him had sort of dried up, and I hadn't heard from him for a few days, and I asked some people to check in, and they were like, essentially he had experienced a major, rapid cognitive decline. And I spoke to my doctor, my friend Dr. Christine Burke, and I asked him my dad has had a major, rapid cognitive decline, and she said, in the cases of cognitive decline where it's rapid, where normally it takes a long time and it's very slow, if it's rapid, always look for an infection. Mm-hmm. An infection is what's driving it. So I flew to the other side of the world, and she said, look, and see that, and go and see my dad. He's in the bed of a friend because my friend had taken him to lunch. He couldn't remember his PIN number. She thought he better not be driving, and took him back to his house, and he's staying in the spare room. And I see him there, and it's indistinguishable from death. Everyone around me, including the doctors and the people who work in palliative care, saying this is just what death looks like. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess this day is coming. He's 86, and we'll do that. But I couldn't help thinking about what my doctor said. I can't see any example of infection. There's no, the doctors are saying they don't see any infection. So I go to his house, his flat, to see that, and there is black mold. Black mold in the house, and it had just been a very wet winter in Cape Town. It was December last year. That's the beginning of summer, but the spring had been very wet, and you could see the mold on the wall. I could smell it, and so I recognized that, hey, this is a rapid cognitive decline as a result of this mold, and that was predicted by this doctor, in America without ever having seen him. And so, as time starts to go on, I think, he's dying, and so we take him to another friend's house, and I'm with him for the next 2 weeks, and we're in a very healthy environment by the ocean, and there's no mold there. And again, everyone around is sort of preparing for death. So I'm preparing his things and dealing with all the admin that comes with being an only child on the other side of the world. And then, over the next couple of weeks, all I can say is that he sort of starts coming back to life, right? Because he's in a different environment, and I'm there, and we're connected, and he's eating, and he's being, bowels are moving, and, the kind of things that happen, when that. And ultimately, no medical professional could understood what was happening, but I understood definitely what was happening because of the connection to this, my doctor there, Dr. Burke, who had helped me with that, and a couple of other doctors that had talked it through. And my dad now, 6 months later, is not 100% better, but he is, he is back to normal in a certain way. Not fully, but he's on the path back to recovery. that is not normal, right? No neurologist that you could speak to in America would understand that. Very few doctors would think that that was even possible. And it just became clear to the doctors there that he doesn't have any, he's not dying of any disease, just that there was this rapid cognitive decline, and now it's coming back slowly as the environment changes and, you know, some of the protocols and that he's working on. And so part of the reason why I think this is really interesting is because it reinforces this concept that I've heard about through years of being in the functional medicine world, is that dementia is not one thing, right? There are basically 6 kind of major reasons why people get dementia, and ultimately the new health is identifying what was the actual cause that led to this cognitive decline and dealing with that cause, as opposed to drugging the condition that has never worked.
No, that's great. Can you talk to us about these areas?
Yeah, so one obviously is sort of infection, and you would say that like that there could be different types of infection there, but mold does show up, you know, a lot, because it's like a constant biotoxin in the environment. You know, you've heard people talk about type 3 diabetes, right? People talk about Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes. Yes, that is the case, but it's not the case for everyone, right? It's not the case for everyone. It's not the reason why it's for everyone. You see a lot of people with, like, if they've had long-term exposure to heavy metals, so, you know, coal miners or people that work in aluminium smelting plants or whatever, if you've been breathing in smoke or whatever that has a lot of that over time, you can see that. And toxins, smoking, you know, that can be, so there's like a chemical bucket there. And, you know, there's the hormonal factors. And so the way of the future, the way that dementia will be treated in the future, and what I'm working on right now, is a way that any doctor could automatically see for the patient in front of them, if you put their lab tests in, which one of these buckets does it fit into, and how would you treat that bucket? And ultimately, this is like a passion project for me now, because I recognize that, you know, that this has to happen, and that, like, literally no one knows about this. And if you look at the standard of care, if you look in healthcare, there's never been a drug that has reversed cognitive decline, right? The only drugs, and the drugs that are on the market right now, they're slightly better than doing nothing at slowing the progress, right? But you're not going back in the other direction.
Right.
There is now outcomes, and this is from the Journal of Alzheimer's in 2022, Dr. Christine Burke's practice, which is the Center for, the True Health Center for Precision Medicine, where they show an average dramatic increase in cognitive function through a precision functional medicine approach. Now, the exciting thing is right now, if you're listening to this, that data exists and has been published. Right now, the thing that hasn't existed is a placebo-controlled trial. And that is happening right now. And if you go to dementiareversaltrial.com, there's actually a few spots left. You have to live near one of the trial sites, and there's only 6 trial sites, I think, in the country right now. There's a few spots left. But this trial, Dr. Burke is one of those trial sites. And, you know, I can't talk about what's happening in the trial right now, but I will say that in a year's time, it'll be a lot more obvious to everyone that dementia is reversible in the same circumstances. You just need the right combination of tools.
This is a beautiful example of the new health. I love this so much. There's so much fear associated with dementia. There's so much memory decline, not remembering who our children are. I mean, we have this fear. We all know somebody that has dementia of some form. So this is really remarkable news that we could be on a path to reversing dementia at this point in time.
And just to add to that, so there's actually been a lot in the news recently with Sanjay Gupta on CNN and otherwise talking about the Ornish study for dementia. So Dean Ornish has shown that dementia is reversible just with lifestyle, with 4 things: eating more healthily, dealing with your stress more effectively, moving more, and loving more. I think he says stress less and loving more. So these are his 4 pillars, and that just with those 4 pillars, they have been able to reverse dementia and slow cognitive decline and get it going in the other direction. In, you know, like, let's say about 50% of people that execute on that. In the precision medicine side, you get that 50%, but then you also get this other 30% of dealing with these, you know, these other buckets of cause. And so that's why I said from the beginning, lifestyle is the foundation. You have to do that, and that's a key part of the Dementia Reversal Trial is building a foundation of doing these healthy lifestyle things. But within this precision functional medicine approach, there's an opportunity to actually understand what has caused the dementia in that person and to reverse it. And like, as an example, in Ornish's trial, there's no plan for mold, right? There's no plan for mold, but in Dr. Burke's protocol, there is a plan for mold. And that's why this is the perfect example of like, lifestyle's the foundation, but there's something special about dealing with it at the causative level that I think is the new health.
And there's a technology piece that is put in this when it comes to figuring out this?
Yeah, the technology piece is really about helping the doctor understand which one of the 6 buckets this fits into, and then how to treat that specific bucket. And part of the reason why the 6 doctors who are in the trial right now get the outcomes that they do is because they've had, in most cases, at least 10 years of sort of generalism medicine, because there's no neurologists in this group, right? Neurologists are, they treat the brain, but this is not a brain disease, this is a whole body disease, right? So they have 10 years of medicine, 10 years of functional medicine training, and then 5 years of extra training in brain health, all of them. And like, we can't scale. I always think about scale, I always think about solving this at the level that it exists. And so the technology is really there to teach the doctor, to showcase the doctor. You put in the labs, this is what's causing it, this is how to treat it. Go get it.
Oh, that's so great. It really helps, and it'll help streamline those physicians. So that's amazing.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yep.
Well, James, thank you once again for joining us. This was fascinating. I love learning about this reversal for dementia. So please tell everybody how they can find you.
Yeah, you can see what I'm working at my website. It's jamesmaskell.com, and on Instagram, Mr. James Maskell. And yeah, I'd highly recommend, if you have a loved one who lives close to those trial sites, that trial will shake the ground of American medicine, and there's still an opportunity to be in it for free right now.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. So thank you so much for joining us, and please stay tuned after these messages for our next guest.